Alright, who is ready for 2016 to be over? Because I am, certainly am. I am so sick of 2016. It is the final day of being 2016. I cannot wait for this new year to start. So why don't I do my last video for 2016 before it's even too late. And while I got a little bit of daylight, which barely I have any because I have clouds. Neat. Anyway, you guys know who all I am. Godzilla 15. Haven't been active lately. Last video I did was the 2014 clip. And so I thought I'd do a review for my last video, 2016. 2016 was a rough year for me, especially my last year school year. It was very tough. I had a lot of stress going on, so I'm really hoping that 2017 will be a better year for me. So why don't I review the NECA GMK Godzilla 2001 from NECA. So let's take a look at the packaging, since packaging is more important than starting out with the figure. So the packaging is pretty much the exact same style as how NECA's been doing their toys lately. The 54 Godzilla figure shows in the background, and Godzilla 2001, and then on the back shows the prototype picture. Well, that's actually a picture of the actual toy, actually. I shouldn't say prototype, because that's a picture of the actual thing. So yeah, sorry about the lighting. I only have one lamp and it's not really doing any justice for me, so I'll get that out of the way. So here's the figure. Figure's pretty nice. I've seen a lot of videos on the comparison of the NECA and the Monster Arts, because people say the Monster Arts has lack of paint, has a little bit of an overbite, and of course my cat's gonna be in my video. But a lot of people do dislike the Monster Arts for some reason, but if I did have the Monster Arts with me, I would bring that out for a comparison. But unfortunately I don't. It's too expensive. So yeah. So here's the NECA Godzilla 2001. Is it the worst? No. But why don't I just jump into reviews so you guys can hear my opinions on it. Now I'm trying to get as much light as I can, because I really do not have a good light. This is a long lamp, so just bear with me. So we're just gonna start out with the exact same thing, the way I review my things. Is starting out with detail and all that good stuff. One thing I like about this figure is the eyes. The eyes look neat, nice and round. The head's nicely rounded, as it should be. It's more circle, except we got all these little cutouts right here for the articulation, but at least it's still a round shaped head. You have the teeth, nice detail in the mouth, if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see, but sorry. There you go. Nice detail in the gums. Skin detailing on the head right here does look neat. They actually did some good detail. One thing that does look odd to me is that the neck is a little bit thin compared to the head. I feel like the neck should be a little bit thicker than just looking like that. Don't you guys agree that the neck should be a little bit thicker? But anywho, but the detail looks really neat. It looks like an actual GMK Godzilla. You got the skin texture on the arms. They did a nice job with the arms. I do like how the arms are done. So are his claws. He's got the big nails. As for the chest, it's got some nice detailing right there. I do like the body length that they made this guy. As you can tell, they did make him a little bit fat as he was in the movie. Made him a little chunky. Same goes for his legs. Did a good job with the body wise. As far as the toes go, I would say the toenails are not big enough, because he did have some big nails in the movie. But they did make his feet big as they were, so that is a good plus. But I feel like everything that NECA did with this figure is completely movie accurate in my opinion. Spines are movie accurate. Glad to see a 6-inch GMK Godzilla that actually has accurate spines. And they're nicely painted too, but I'll get to the paint job later. And here's the tail. It's round and it's neat and long. It's actually a good length. It's how long the tail should be. Because the GMK didn't have a long tail. It was like a decent long tail. It wasn't super long like a Heisei Godzilla would. So yeah, detail is really neat. I have no problem whatsoever with detail. Now paint. Now this figure has a weird paint scheme. Now I've seen comparisons with the Monster Arts and this figure itself about how the Monster Arts has lack of paint and how the NECA has more paint detail and has a little bit weird paint scheme. Well, for example, the body is just a light gray or charcoal gray, and people say there's like hints of green, which I do see green on the head. Like they put some like green on the head. I want to say they put some on the chest here a little bit. But people see a lot of green when they look at this figure. Like you can see it on the head mostly. That's where mostly the green's at, is the head. Oh, and there's some green hidden right here. So yeah, a lot of people think that the paint scheme for the green part of it is pretty weird to them. I mean, I would say one scene from the movie where I would say Godzilla's first appearance and he was walking around the city. He did have that kind of weird paint look on him. Like he had mostly green to him, and then he had like charcoal gray to him still. Now for the spines, this one has white fins and it has some hidden gray with it. But unlike the Monster Arts, people say that there's only lack of white and there's more like gray to it. So it's like they said that Monster Arts lacked the paint. Well, I would say the paint job on the Monster Arts figure is morally accurate than this guy, because I do remember the GMK fins were more gray, because I did see more gray on the GMK spines in the movie. Because when I look at the movie and I look at the Monster Arts, I find that the Monster Arts has better paint job. Well, I wouldn't say better, but it has more of an accurate paint job. But I would say the white fins are not that big of a deal. I mean, the white spines do look neat. But one thing that does bother me is that NECA has pink on the bottom jaw here. So once I bought this guy, which I bought him around the beginning of November, they had a couple of these on the shelves, and I bought two, because I buy doubles with my NECA toys. Like I have like doubles. I have a 94 in the box, Burning in the box, all of them in the box. And the one I have in the box for GMK has lack of pink on the jaw, but this is the one that pretty much was more significant than the others, because more had show more pink on the jaw than ever. So I would say the jaw with the pink in it does look weird, because it looks like it has a Shin Godzilla jaw. But the paint job, however, does look significant. Well, I don't even know if that's the right word. I would say it looks fantastic. Paint job's fantastic. That's all I could say. And then what else is that? And the other thing about the nails is the way they're painted. It has gray, but it has pink in it. It's really weird. It's really weird how they painted this guy. Out of the other NECA Godzillas, this is like the weirdest one that's been painted. So yeah. And there's also more green on the tail, especially at the tip here. But as far as I could see, it has like a mix of charcoal gray and a mix of like green together. So it's like it has green highlights in some places. So yeah, the paint job is a lackluster sometimes for other people, but for me, I think it's just fine. White spines, I actually like the white spines, but as much as if it bothers other people with the paint scheme being weird for them, I really don't have a problem coming to that. I mean, I think it looks kind of weird in a cool way. Now let's go on to the favorite part that everyone likes, is the articulation. Now, like every other NECA Godzilla, it has pretty much the exact same thing. You have a head that has a ball joint, so it can rotate around and can look down. And his jaw has a hinge, so it could open. The neck is also a ball joint. You can put it all the way down, so you make Godzilla looking down all the way. But I like to keep his head up. He has ball jointed shoulders. It's kind of stiff a little bit. Ball hinge elbows, so you can make his arms straight out, or you could bend them. His wrists have a ball joint, and his fingers can articulate, so you can get them fist. The one thing I don't like about the I want to say the waist articulation is that you can't push it back at all. It only goes one way, and it's just this, so it's kind of loose. Now I don't know if it's on all the figures, but if you guys do have this figure, is your waist like this loose, like where it wobbles like that? I mean, that's how it was when I got it, because I came and put it all the way back, so he's pretty much always hunched forward. Another thing I forgot to mention is that this spine right here is not glued in all the way when I first took it out of the box. So if you look closely, I could bend it. But I could see a fact on why they was like that, because I would say if this was up all the way, I would say this spine will be like moving that spine around. So I'm assuming this is why the spine has to be like that, so it doesn't so this big spine right here doesn't scuff the paint off or actually like ruin the spine. So I can see why NECA didn't put all much glue on that, so that's an understandable thing. So that's a plus for NECA, because they know what they were doing about this spine, because having it like all the way up here, this spine gets in the way. So that's a plus. But back to articulation. The legs have ball joints, or the hips I should say. The knees can bend. And his giant feet, I'm not sure if it's a ball joint or not, but I'm sure it is. But all I can do is just rotate for me. Now, when we get to the tail, you have one joint that's right here. It's kind of stiff, but it rotates. Then you get another joint here. Another one right here. And the last piece is the part that you have to put the tail on, which is, the rest of it is a wire tail, and it's pretty much this part right here. It's a small tail when you put it in, but at least it's not a struggle when you try to put it in like the other ones are. So articulation's good, it's pretty decent, it's pretty much the exact same as the others. Now I'm going to do size comparison with this guy. Now these are the only two 6-inch GMK Godzillas I have. I have the 8-inch version, but it's too big to fit in the screen. So I'm just going to compare the two GMKs I have right here. Here is the 6-inch X Plus, and here is the Bandai Creation GMK. Now you can see pretty much a lot of differences here. For the X Plus, it has a movie accurate look to it. But if you look, they pretty much have the same thing. I mean, the spines are movie accurate to them. But I would say the NECA figure is not as fat as this guy, because you can see this guy looks pretty chunky. But this guy has a thin little body right here. If you look at it through the side, it has a little flat body. Movie accurate spines on both of these. Get out of your boots. And plus, this is an articulated figure, so that's a big difference. Now for the Bandai Creation one, there's a lot of differences when it comes to this guy. This guy has inaccurate fins. This guy has movie accurate fins. This guy is big and fat, as you can see. This guy isn't. This guy has a small head. This guy has a bigger head. You have very different arms. This one has big and thick arms. This guy has little tiny thin arms. This guy's legs are pretty short. This guy's legs are big and long. This guy has big giant calves. Although this guy doesn't that much. I mean, look at these spines. These spines look nothing like the GMK spines should be. It's a little bit weird. I would say the tails are similar because you can tell the spines that are on the tails are pretty much exactly the same. I mean, you got the 3 spikes and they're all in a row. So I would say the tails on these guys are pretty much the exact same. I didn't even think about looking at the GMKs. So is the GMKs. So the only same thing that they have that are in common is the tails. The tails are the only thing that are in common for these two figures, except for the X-Bus with the spines being the same. Now let's bring out one of the Guardians that Godzilla fought. And it's only a 6-inch because it's the GMK King Ghidorah. Godzilla was at least a little bit tiny. It's a little bit bigger than King Ghidorah, but I would say this Godzilla right here for GMK fits more better with this Ghidorah. Godzilla looks too small there. Let's try the X Plus. So is this Godzilla. So I would say the NECA GMK would fit better with the Ghidorah because Godzilla is actually slightly bigger. So these two match a lot better. Final thoughts on the NECA GMK Godzilla. It is a nice figure. I do like it. I feel like NECA did a fantastic job with it. The detail is excellent. Paint job's kind of weird with the green. I mean, the white spines look neat. Articulation's nice. I would say definitely pick this guy up before he gets discontinued because as soon as I bought this guy and as soon as I saved up a little bit extra money for a second one, which I had to hide because once I went back to Toys R Us for another one, they were completely out of these when I went there. So I went to the spot where I hid my second one and it was still there, so I was lucky enough to get my second one. So I would say if you can't find this guy at Toys R Us, I would say try eBay or try a comic book store. Maybe they'll have them in stock because they get new shit in. But as far as anything else goes, I would say pick this guy up as soon as possible because I already know that the other NECA figures that have been made are going double prices on eBay and it's ridiculous. So for my final thoughts, I think I'll be giving this figure a 10 out of 10 because I feel like it's a fantastic job and I think it's a cool NECA toy. And it's a nice GMK too. We need another 6-inch GMK for an articulated figure. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If this one was a little bit lackluster for you, or if it was actually more interesting, because this video took me a while. I didn't know how long this video was going to be. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review on the GMK NECA Godzilla. 10 out of 10. Everything's perfect. I think it looks really great. Alright, that was my last video for 2016, and I hope next year, 2017, will be a better year for me. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon.